It's 5 questions on the 29-year-long tradition that is the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes. This is Trivia with Buds. It be, and welcome to another episode of the Trivia with Buds podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Buds, and I am a Simpsons fan. I'm staring at a shelf of board games, and one of the board games on that shelf is Simpsons Seen It, which is a great place to pull some questions from and a fun game to play, especially when the Seen It craze was taken over. Remember that? Like mid-2000s, everybody had Seen It everything. That was like the wave of the future. It was like, it comes with a DVD with clips on it. You got to buy this thing. And now you can find them at Goodwills and thrift stores for under $5. That's how the world works. Guys, thanks for checking out this show. It is a pop culture trivia podcast that comes out every single day. And if you like playing live trivia, you will get some of that kind of action on this show. Sometimes I play live episodes. Sometimes I just ask you questions that I used at some live shows. Sometimes it's a guest, like today's episode, all the way from Australia. One of my patrons over on my Patreon page, Luke McKay, one of my newest patrons, actually. He joined up, I think, about a month ago, and he said, I want to do some questions on the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes specifically. And I said, all right, I can't wait to talk about when Bart went to Australia and got put on trial. That'll be a fun little tie-in. I always like the idea of the standalone, totally random Treehouse of Horror episodes. They were like my favorite things up until, I don't know, season 15, when I kind of stopped watching the show every week like I used to as a kid and teenager. One of my favorite things is when they did like a parody of I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think it was called I Know What You Diddly Italy Did. And it was something about Ned coming back to kill them, or they hit Ned with the car and he comes back. And Homer says, guess I forgot to put the fog lights in. I don't even remember the setup to that joke, but he sings it in that way. And then they hit Ned. And later they do like a flashback. And instead of using that same sound clip, they had the like Dan Castellaneta or whatever his name is, Castellaneta, recorded in a different way. So it's like, guess I forgot to put the fog lights in. Like it's totally different emphasis and tone. And I just remember that being so funny for some reason as a kid. And I still think it's funny. Here's 5 fun facts I read about The Simpsons in preparation for this episode. First fact, number 1, Bart is an anagram of brat. That's why his name is Bart, because it's very close to brat. Number 2, in The Simpsons scripts, the wording for dough just says annoyed grunt. So I guess the voice actor must have come up with that. Annoyed grunt is dough, and dough is now in the dictionary, which is crazy. Number 3, Fox owns the rights to The Simpsons until 2082. That is a long time. That is 60-something more years of Simpsons on Fox. So that'll be interesting if that is still airing on Fox and whatever the hell Fox is in another 60 years. Think about what Fox was 60 years ago. It wasn't anything. So we'll see what that turns into in 2082. Well, I won't see. I'll probably be gone. Or maybe close to being gone because I was born in 85. But we'll see. I'll hear about it. I'm sure I'll get a telegram or something. Number 4, Milhouse's middle name is Mussolini. I don't remember when they said that, but that must be the case. Milhouse's middle name is Mussolini. And number 5, Michael Jackson produced the song Do the Bartman, which became a global hit sensation in 1990 because he was such a fan of the show. He was on one of those early episodes where he sings Happy Birthday, Lisa, Lisa, it's your birthday with Bart. And I guess he produced the Bartman, Do the Bartman song. Very interesting stuff. All right, now that we're all warmed up with this one, let's jump into my call with Luke McKay, all the way from Australia, and 5 questions on the Treehouse of Horror Simpsons episodes. Here we go. Sitting here in my man cave in Laverne, California, talking to somebody all the way on the other side of the world in Australia, and that is Mr. Luke McKay. What's up, Luke?
Hey, Buds, how are you, mate?
Pretty good, man. How's everything going? It's Saturday morning there. It's Friday night here. The sun's just setting here in California, and it must be Saturday morning by you. Is that right?
Yeah, Saturday, 12 o'clock, so lunchtime.
Nice. You just finished watching all your Saturday morning cartoons?
Yeah, something like that.
What were some of your favorite Saturday morning cartoons as a kid?
Well, here we had something called Saturday Disney, so...
Oh, nice.
It was all those Disney shows, you know, so Darkwing Duck, DuckTales.
Yeah, we had the same thing.
Those classics.
They aired those over here in the States after school every day, so it was called Disney Afternoon. You can go home and watch all those different things.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
They actually had a video game collection called the Disney Afternoon Collection, which was for PlayStation and Xbox, and it was like 4 or 5 games. It was like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 1 and 2. I think it was DuckTales 1 and 2, Darkwing Duck the game, and Tailspin the game, I want to say. And it came out right when the Nintendo Switch came out, and it would be perfect to have those games on the go to play, and they didn't put it on the Nintendo Switch. So it was like it just didn't make any sense, because I'm like, that's the exact play. They were on Nintendo. That's where I want to play them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it seems perfect for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how old are you, Luke? Are we about the same age? Are you younger? Are you older?
I'm 26.
26. Okay, so I'm 33. I just turned 33 the other day. So let's see.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. That's what I was fishing for, basically. I just wanted you to say happy birthday.
Sounded like it.
Let's see. 4 and 3. I'm 7 years older than you. And I want to say that I'm wiser, but I could already tell that you probably know more about the world than I do.
Oh, I highly doubt that.
Now, you kind of came across my show, I want to say a couple months back, or did you just become a Patreon a couple months back? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so probably about 6-7 months ago we discovered it. So myself and my brother, we both work at a primary school.
Yeah.
And we were just driving home one day and wanted to listen to something, so just searched for trivia, and you came up, and just been listening ever since, really.
Ah, awesome, man. I'm glad you found it. So you just literally searched the word trivia, which a few other people have told me they've done, and I'm so glad that I'm coming up as one of the top trivia shows, I guess, you know.
Yeah, the top, yeah. So.
Very cool. Have you, what are some other trivia shows that you like to indulge in?
I don't know if I really listen to any other trivia podcasts, but just, you know, all those game shows on the TV that are still on here, so like The Chase, and we get Jeopardy and all of those ones over here, so...
Very cool. I just saw they added Jeopardy to Netflix, actually. If you have although I don't know if Netflix in Australia and the US has the same exact stuff, but the Netflix over here has Jeopardy, and I think Hulu just added like a ton of years of Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, right. No, we don't have Hulu, but they added about 40 episodes of Jeopardy here.
Very cool.
Probably last week, yeah.
Very cool. Now, you mentioned watching those Saturday morning cartoons. Are you a fan of DuckTales by any chance?
Yeah, I love DuckTales.
Very cool. The only other Australians I've had on the show were a married couple who run a DuckTales podcast called It's a Duck Blur. Did you ever
see that one?
Yeah, that's a fun one. That's a cool couple, and maybe they live next door to you. You never know.
Good dude.
Yeah, but check that out if you're listening to this and you're like, ooh, I want some DuckTales trivia. The official DuckTales podcast, It's a Duck Blur. Go check that out. I think it was around episode 101, 98, something like that in my run of episodes. But some fun DuckTales trivia on there. And today we've got some great Simpsons-related trivia. You've been asking me to do this since before Halloween, and I shit the bed and didn't get to it until November. But here we are. We finally made it.
Better late than never.
Now, what is so interesting to you about the Treehouse of Horror episodes? Have you seen all of them? Did you grow up watching those?
Yeah, just always growing up watching The Simpsons in Australia. So 6 o'clock weeknights on Channel 10, as your Australian listeners would know. And you have the classic Super Simpsons weekend. So it's a 3-hour block of Simpsons on Saturday morning, then a 3-hour block of Simpsons on Sunday morning.
I love it. That's a lot of Simpsons. That's good stuff. And did you know that, do they have FXX there? You can watch every episode on demand on FXX out here.
No, they don't. They don't, unfortunately. So
yeah. That's pretty cool.
I'm sure a lot of fans are pulling for to come here, but
yeah,
one day.
I used to go to sleep on the weeknights. I used to share a room with my older brother, who's 12 years older than me, and he lived at my parents' house way longer than he should have. So I was probably 12, and he was probably 24, still living at home. And we would go to sleep watch. We would watch Simpsons at 10 o'clock on a weeknight, and then Seinfeld 10:30 to 11, and then 11:30 or maybe 11 to midnight was MASH, that old Korean War sitcom, MASH. Yep. So we'd watch all those. I would always fall asleep right at the beginning, like the music would play for MASH, and I'd be out. But the Simpsons and Seinfeld, I feel like that's how I got through so many seasons and episodes, just watching that every night on the weekdays. And that was like, all right, it's 10 o'clock, it's time to wind down and share this room with my brother. But I was going to say, I think maybe one of my earliest introductions to what Australia was, you know, like I probably had heard of Australia and I didn't really get it, was probably through The Simpsons when doesn't Bart go to Australia and what does he do that gets him on trial? Yeah,
so he makes the prank phone call asking if the toilet water runs backwards in Australia.
That's right.
All the drains run backwards, and then, they get over there and
And they want to boot him, right? They want to kick him with the boot.
That's it.
Is that a real thing? Is there is there a boot punishment over there?
Not yet, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Love it. Very good. All right, Luke, let's test your wits on 5 questions about the Treehouse of Horror episodes of The Simpsons. These have been going for 29 years, so they did it every year except the first year, from what I understand. And how many of those, have you seen them all?
I haven't seen this year's one, but I've seen the other 28.
Very good. Maybe you'll get 4.
Hopefully you got nothing about number 29 in there. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe you'll get 4 out of 5 of these questions then. All right, here we go. How many do you think you're going to get out of 5?
Maybe 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. We'll see.
All right, here we go. Luke with Treehouse of Horror. Question number 1. The first ever story in the first Treehouse of Horror features a scary house trying to harm the Simpsons family. What is the episode a parody of? What is that paying homage to?
Ooh, good question. Well, it's Bad Dream House is the name of the segment.
That's right. I think it's called Bad Dream House.
Yeah, and I think it's James L. Jones is the voice.
That's probably about right, yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to maybe guess an episode of The Twilight Zone. I know a lot of those are based on The Twilight Zone, so...
That is a great guess, and unfortunately not the right guess. It's the Amityville Horror. You know, the house that makes you, like, kill your family and stuff like that?
Yeah, right.
Amityville Horror.
Never seen it, so...
Yeah, I saw there was a Ryan Reynolds version that came out in like 2004 or 5 maybe, and I saw that in theaters with a date, I remember. And it was like the first and last date. We saw that movie. It was kind of a stinker, and then I never talked to her again. So here we go. This is question number 2. Which character plays a version of Freddy Krueger in an episode called A Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace?
Oh, that'll be Groundskeeper Willie.
That's right, Groundskeeper Willie infiltrating Bart's dreams. That was one of my favorites as a kid. I love seeing that one.
Yeah, great one.
Great one. Here comes question 3. The Simpsons Halloween special in 2000 featured an intro with the family that paid homage to what classic black and white sitcom? So it was black and white sitcom, and in 2000, The Simpsons, the whole intro was kind of based off of this old sitcom. It matches up with the Treehouse of Horror kind of idea.
Ooh, good question.
Luke's thinking it over. He's trying to look it up on a computer.
Not even near a computer. I'm actually in the parking lot of a swimming pool at the moment. So
nice. Very good. Are you on? Real quick, were you on your way to swim, or you just happened to go? I'm going to pull over here.
Yeah, just pretty much just pulled over here.
Very good. Any guesses there? Old black and white sitcom?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to say The Honeymooners.
The Honeymooners, great guess, but it was the Munsters. Did they have that over there?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. The Munsters. Homer as Herman Munster, etc.
Yeah, mate.
There you go.
I think they all kill everybody else and Lisa gets away, I think.
I think you're right about that. That sounds accurate. Here comes question 4. What backyard item allows Homer to clone himself in the season 14 horror short, Send in the Clones?
I think that's his hammock.
It is his hammock. He buys one from like a street vendor, doesn't he? Like a haunted hammock or something?
Yeah, like a traveling hammock salesman, I think.
Oh man, there need to be more modern things where just a traveling salesman that sells you something cursed. I like that. That's such a fun idea.
Great.
And question number 5. You got half of these at this point. So let's see if you can get this last one to get to 60%. Number 5. Now you did say you haven't seen this season, so it might be tough. Number 5. In the newest season's episode, Lisa goes into a tunnel and finds another version of her family, which is a parody of what kids movie from 2009?
Oh, I have seen that one, actually. That was Coraline.
Nice. Maybe that was last year's episode, so maybe it was not the newest one. But
it might have been, yeah.
There you go. Coraline was correct. I don't even know if I'd call Coraline a kids movie. It's pretty bizarre. It's a pretty bizarre movie. My daughter watches it, but when the mom is a creepy spider woman, it gets kind of crazy. So you got that. You did get 3 out of 5. Nice job, and you nailed the one that I didn't think you would get. So well done, Luke. Is there anything you want to plug? Maybe a social media channel or a page that you run or a different show or anything like that?
No, not really, mate. I'm all good.
Very good. If you have kids and they're in primary education, talk to Luke and his brother. They'll teach them up real good for you in Australia. There you go.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
Very good, man. And real quick, before you leave, what do you like about being a patron on the show for people who are maybe not part of my Patreon page? What made you go like, I think I want to support this show?
Well, obviously it's this one with the getting to ask a topic every month. Mm-hmm. And it's very interactive as well. You know, you've just started the Discord page as well, which I think it's pretty great, that chat.
Yeah.
Hopefully get that going.
Yeah, I was looking for something like that for a bit, and I was maybe going to do like Google Hangouts, but you have to pay for this thing called G Suite to be able to do that. And I was like, there's got to be like a free version of this. And Patreon sent me an email, and they were like, hey, we teamed up with Discord, and it's free. So I checked it out, and I'm like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So yeah, I could open that right now. And the newest message in that server that I created is from you, and it's a thumbs up. And I sent pictures of my kids and us at our pirate party. And
there you go.
yeah, and I've also we got a good chat going in there. You kind of introduce yourself to Dan, who's also from Australia and a patron of the show. And I posted some episodes that we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks that are the topics picked by you guys, the patrons. So it's a patron-only group, and if you join at any tier, $1 or more, you get access to that. I'll send you the link on Patreon, and then you can jump in there and kind of, interact with people from near and far. So thank you so much, Luke. I appreciate you being part of the show and helping make it grow every day with your patronage, and for taking the time to do this episode with me today.
No worries. Thanks, Buds.
All right, Luke. There you have it. A quick episode on the Treehouse of Horror Mythology with Luke McKay. Great pick, Luke. I appreciate you. I also appreciate all my amazing Patreons like Carrie Moore, Manny Majarian, Alexis Eck, Earl Clark, Alex DeSmet, Sarah McKevitz, Simon Time, Jess Whitener, Jen Wojnar, Kyle Bonin, Douglas French, Erica Cooper, Fiona Neville, Scott Buds the Scorpion, Brendan Martinez, Russ Friedewald, Luke McKay, Wreck My Podcast, Dan Papalo, Greg Hines, and Casey Becker. You guys rock. Thank you so much for your support on Patreon to keep this show getting bigger and better every single day. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow for more trivia with Buds. Cheers.